hell no, we ain't doing it. What the hell? So the orange man in chief is trying to come up with an excuse to bring some of the Hispanics back that he kicked out the country because the people in the inner cities just aren't working the fields anymore. They're just not doing it. You've tried and they've tried and they're just not doing it. They don't even keep the stuff in anymore. They say it out on the streets, on the radio, on TV. They just say it all out loud now. No, we are not working the fields, mother.
All right, y'all. So our president, y'all, I know a lot of you didn't vote for him, but he is our president, has decided he's did the wrong thing by sending all of the immigrants out of America because the farmers are struggling, which we all knew that. But now he said that they can come back in legal. And I believe these people going to take the opportunity to do that. I don't blame it. I would too. I know, the way it happened was crazy. But now, supposedly, he's going to probably let them back in legal. I don't know if he's really went through it or not. But I don't blame him. I will come back and get my money, get my little coins, So, anyway, yeah. But anyway, he thought he was doing the right thing. But I see why. Now, by him making them come back legal, they can get money off of them the right way. So, y'all stay tuned, all right? Okay.
Trump went on Fox News and basically said, we shouldn't have kicked the immigrants out. The farmers ain't got nobody. The inner city people ain't gonna do it, so we need to bring them back.
Sending them back, and then they're schooling, they're learning, they're coming in legally. We have a lot of that going on. So we're taking care of our farmers. We can't let our farmers not have anybody, these people, you can't replace them very easily. People that live in the inner city are not doing that.
Damn right, the people in the inner city ain't doing that work. He basically thought he was going to deport everybody and then we was going to go back in those fields. What the hell this man was thinking? Those days is over and they ain't coming back. Now he want to think about bringing the immigrants back because farmers are struggling. You should have thought about that beforehand. You already knew these people wasn't going to survive because you took away they people to help run their shit. Now he doubling down and he want them to come back legally. Man, get the fuck out of here.
Trump basically tells Fox News that he regrets busting down on the immigrants and sending them back home because his farmers now need help. And all I can say is I knew he was going to regret this shit because there's no person really working harder than an immigrant due to the simple fact that they're on a mission. They're on a mission. They come to this country just to work. Immigrant is probably the hardest working person you know. Hands down. No ifs or buts about it. And it's just like they was not bothering you. I knew in the end time you were going to need these people to take care of life in America. If you really think about it, who are building these bridges that we drive on? Immigrants. Who are building these houses? Immigrants. Who are cutting the grass? Immigrants. So now that your farmers are in need, you want to double down and say, oh, we're going to bring back the immigrants and make sure they come legally. It's not easy to get rid of them. Well, you try to challenge the situation and it backfired on your ass. Don't bring them back now. You broke up happy homes because you hated immigrants. But now that you're in need and you thought the black people was going to enslave and help your farmers, which they're not. This is not back in the day. They barely want to fucking work. Don't bring the immigrants back now.
The irony, remember, black people refused to take up the jobs that were occupied by the farmers. Well, people are reacting to this as well as the new update that comes from Trump coming up to finally speak out what are the black jobs. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below.
So Donald Trump just teased a brand new immigration policy for farm workers, and I'm not even kidding when I say it is the most backhanded compromise you've ever seen. Here's what he's pushing now. A touchback plan. Basically, if you've ever been an undocumented farm worker in this country, working your ass off for years, you'd be forced to leave the country and then re-enter legally through a visa program like H-2A. Let me repeat that for you in case you missed it. Leave the country you've helped feed, just to beg to come back in legally, even though you've already proven you're essential. And of course, this isn't about granting any kind of stability or citizenship. Trump already made that clear. No path to legalization, just more bureaucracy and red tape. Now, this sudden softening didn't come from nowhere, guys. Trump's been getting slammed by big agriculture. These farms are freaking out over labor shortages. They need workers. Real ones, not just the fantasy ones that MAGA think will show up from the unemployment line. So now Trump's caught in the middle, of course. Farms are begging for help. MAGA extremists are calling any legal fix amnesty. And Trump, well, he's just trying to fucking thread this weird little needle where he pretends to care about both without actually fixing a damn thing. And even if the visa system does expand, it's a mess. It's seasonal, it's slow, and it doesn't cover year-round work like dairy. These farms are still left exposed to ICE raids and labor chaos. So, I mean, in the end of the day, we got to be real about this. This is not a solution. It's a PR stunt. It's Trump trying to make it look like he's tough on the border while quietly bailing out the industries that keep the economy running. You know what would actually help, though, guys? A real pathway to legalization, stability for workers, protection for the food supply. But no, he'd rather dance for the far right while pretending he's doing farmers a favor. You can't fix a broken system when you're only worried about how it looks to the base. You either value immigrant labor or you don't. But this half-measure bullshit helps no one.
Donald Trump just said that if immigrant farmers get a bad back and can't do farm work, they die. He just said the quiet part out loud when backtracking his own immigration policy. Take a listen to what he said today. Quote, "We want to work with them. In some cases, we're sending them back to their country with a pass to come back legally. We can't let our farmers not have anybody. You know, these people, you can't replace them very easily. People that live in the inner city are not doing this farm work. They're not doing the work. And they've tried, we've tried, everybody tried. They don't do it. Immigrants, however, do it naturally." I said, what happens if they get a bad back? Farmers said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. Once again, Donald Trump is saying the quiet part out loud. He knows that if he goes after undocumented migrants in the farming sector, he will destroy the economy and our agriculture industries. He knows that some of these undocumented migrants are so willing to work through pain and injury because if they report to their bosses that they're injured, they might get kicked out of the country and never be allowed to enter once again. So Donald Trump is once again backtracking his own immigration policy. Fortunately, this time it might actually be a good thing because he's not going to destroy the lives of so many hardworking people that are just trying to contribute to our economy and make a living.
Okay, I want to take a moment to say thank you to Donald Trump, not out of praise, but out of truth. Because while you rip through every part of this government, tearing down justice, equality, and fairness under the fake excuse of fighting DEI fraud, what you're really doing is confirming what black folks have been saying for generations. America was built on racism, fueled by fear and sustained by white supremacy. You've exposed it all.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you guys realized that this man who is running this country for the second time is going to crash the economy, housing, food subsidies, and everything else? He just went on Fox News and realized that these farmers and the food are going to skyrocket because there's nobody out there picking those fruits, cotton, and everything else they do. He realized he fucked up. He realized he fucked up. And the indicators are you done deported all the fucking workers and they're not going to come back because they think you're going to set them up to deport them. So he fucked America again. When will you people realize that Donald Trump is not a well man of thinking about running a country, let alone a business? He is the worst thing to ever happen to America. But white America, you did this to yourself. You did this to yourself. You put a moron in charge of the biggest economy in the world twice. Twice you put this man in charge. He continues to fuck up this economy. Gas prices are surging again. Food prices are out of control. America, you did this to yourself. I keep telling in every video I've made that this man was incompetent a long time ago. He grifted his way in the first time. He lost the election to Biden. And he should have lost the election to Kamala Harris. But no. Y'all wanted a narcissistic, old, feeble white man to run this country, and you're getting exactly what you deserve. And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Because once them food prices start hitting your pocketbook, and everything else that he's implemented in this country, the laws that he is trying to dictate in this country, you're going to wish you never saw him in your lifetime. This man is one of the most incompetent people I think I've ever seen run this country. Twice. That says a lot about you, America. Twice you gave him the opportunity to fuck you. And he's doing it without no Vaseline. Congratulations.